Hello. Today's Sunday. It is April 28th, which means we're just 2 days away from the release of Coywolf. And like I said in my last video, I wanted to share a little bit more. Today I have two things mainly that I want to talk about. I want to share some happy stuff, some celebrations. I've got so many things in my life that I'm thankful for that I'm going to focus just on the things that are related to my writing life. And then after that, I have some questions that I've been asked from multiple people that I thought I'd try to answer a few of them. I'm only going to have time to answer a couple because the list goes on and on and on, and I don't want this to be a video that's too long to watch or anything like that, so I'm just going to focus on a few that I've heard the most, all right? But some happy things that I would like to celebrate. First of all, I've already had a few pre-orders for my book on Amazon. So again, you can pre-order the ebook right now. You can order the paperback in 2 days. And if you order the ebook now, you'll get that delivered in 2 days. So I already have had a few of those, which is really great. It's nice to see, and I appreciate those of you if you've gone ahead and pre-ordered it already. A second happy thing that I want to share from the world of writing is I promise I don't do this all the time and linger on these things, but as I was updating my webpage, I was going back through my Amazon page and I was looking through some of the publications that I'm in, and I was reading the reviews of one of them, and it was really nice. In a couple of these reviews, I was mentioned by name from these short story collections, basically like pulp magazines. And so in my most recent story, which is called Thunderbolt Colt, which was in Broadswords and Blasters, one of the reviews says, in his review, he says, Thunderbolt Colt by Michael DeCarolis. It's been a long time since I've read a Western, and this one took me by surprise, especially with the weird factor here. I couldn't help but appreciate the mix of Greek mythology alongside the mythology of the Wild West, and really, DeCarolis really hits the nail when setting the tone for this small yarn. This was one of my favorites in the issue. So that was really great to read, and I really appreciate that. He goes on and he says a little bit more, and at the end of his review for this piece, he said, I couldn't help but want more of it by the end, so thank you to Alex P. who wrote that. And also another one from Amazon customer lists, out of this entire issue, they list only 3 of their favorites, and they say, and mine is included. It says the Old West dime novel / Greek demigod combo Thunderbolt Colt by Michael DeCarolis. So thank you for that. That makes me feel good. Probably there are a lot of people in the world like me who are very flattered by hearing even a small amount of praise, because it's never expected. So thank you very much. And one third happy thing that I would like to celebrate is a short story of mine just got named an honorable mention for the Writers of the Future contest. Which is a pretty huge contest. I think that each quarter they get thousands of submissions. I couldn't find exact numbers, or I would share that with you. But it was really nice to, it was my first time entering the contest. It's a pretty well-known speculative fiction contest. It was really nice to be named for my first submission, honorable mention for the, that was for quarter 1, 2019. So that was really great. So those are 3 wonderful things that are happening in my writing life. But what I'd like to do now is just answer a few questions. And again, out of all the questions I've been asked by friends, by students, people have sent me messages on Facebook, these are the ones that have come up the most that I want to try to answer. And the first one is, and I think I get this because a lot of the people who are asking me these questions know me personally, and they want to help me out. So the first question that I'm going to answer is, what is the best way to support me when you're buying your copy of Coywolf? And the obvious answer is, if you can, please buy the book. But I know that not everyone can do that. I do not expect every single person who is my friend on Facebook or my follower on Twitter or subscriber on YouTube, which those are all the places I'm sharing the video. I don't expect everybody to be able to buy the book. Maybe financially you can't, or maybe for whatever other reason. But if you do buy it, please, after you have a chance to read it, write a review on Amazon and say some of the things that you liked about it. That's all that you could do in an easy, simple way. And that would help me a lot, because those reviews are what will encourage other people to buy the book in the future. Somebody asked me which is better for me monetarily, the ebook or the paperback. And the answer is the paperback. But honestly, I want you to buy whatever is easiest for you, whichever you are most likely to read. I know that I have some friends who live nearby who they've asked me, will I give them a signed copy of it? Absolutely, but you need to buy the paperback and bring it to me, and then I'll sign it. But buy whichever one you're going to be able to read. But if you are planning on buying it, just so you know, I will get the biggest boost and the most help if I have a lot of sales close together in a short amount of time. So if it's possible for you to buy it on the day of release, which is in 2 days, on April 30th, please buy it on that day, on April 30th, or close to it, because that will help me going forward. If I get a high sales rank early on, that will help me. So if it's possible for you to do that, please do so. Other than that, and even if you don't buy the book, if you're not able to, tell other people about the book, share some of my videos. That would be the next best way to help me, and I really appreciate anything that you can do, but really my goal is to share the novel, and if you can read it, or if you know people who might enjoy it, share it with them. Which kind of leads me to question number 2, which was, why this story? You know, I write a lot. I write all sorts of different things. Some of the stuff that I've had published already is more like science fiction, fantasy sort of stuff. So why this story, which has a very light fantasy element? It's mostly real world stuff, and it's a young adult novel. And the answer is, I think that the most interesting stories are the character-driven stories, the ones that are about characters who you can really understand and get into and get what they're going through. And from my years teaching English, I've seen a need for my students to have a character like this character, like Jackson Porter. He's somebody who, for a lot of my students, he's relatable. His challenges are relatable. And even though he isn't a real person, his struggles are real for many of the students who I teach. And even though he learns to cope with his issues through magic, there's a lot in the book that I think, a lot of life lessons, or a lot of ideas that I think all of my students and teenagers, young people, could benefit, and adults as well, I think, can look back at it and understand and think about when we were going through that same stuff when we were that age. So I have more to write in my life about all sorts of other characters, topics, adventures, etc. But it was really important to me that I share this story as soon as possible. Every year that goes by, I think of students who I teach, and I say to myself, I wish I could put that book in his hand or her hand right now, because I think that there could be some connection there. I think this could be a nice thing to share with this student who could maybe lighten their burden a little bit, that sort of thing. At least that's my dream as a writer. So I wanted to share this story as soon as possible. I couldn't wait any longer. I was dying to get this out to the world. And my third frequently asked question, and I was really surprised to hear this question from multiple people. I never would have thought that this would come up as many times as it has, but it was character names. How do I come up with character names? Is there any significance to character names? That sort of stuff. And so sometimes, while I'm drafting a character or thinking about a character, as part of that process of thinking of their character traits and stuff like that, a name just clicks, pops in with it and clicks. But sometimes I have a character for a while in a rough draft or in an outline that has no name. And, you know, and maybe I think about what's going on around that character, what the context is, and I think of what sounds, for lack of a better term, good in the story. And it sort of works itself out organically that way. But usually what I do is I put a lot of thought into name meanings and symbolism. I do a lot of research. I read about etymology of last names, so where different last names have originated, and was there an original meaning for that word in another language before it became the last name, that sort of stuff. So it's not true for every character, but for many characters, if you were to look up the etymology of the character's last name, or their first name, or the meaning of their name, or the symbolism, and think about their role in the story once you get through it, you could probably make some connections there and understand that there's something sort of below the surface for a lot of the names. But again, not every single name. Some of them, sometimes a name just fits somebody, you know. And actually, I'm glad that's a question that I've been asked a lot, because names are a big part of this story. The main character thinks a lot about his name, which you see from very early in the story, and so I think that's fitting. So out of all of the questions I've been asked, I knew that this story would go, or this video would go on forever if I answered everything. But those three I've heard a lot, and I hope that I've answered enough of that you sort of have a good understanding of what I want to say about that. So that's it. So a few last minute reminders. The book is out April 30th, 2019, a couple days from now, and it's on Amazon. The paperback is $14.99. You can pre-order the ebook right now for $4.99. Please share this video, tell your friends about this novel. You know, if you know young people, teenagers, high schoolers, this might be the sort of thing that they would like to read, but adults as well would get a lot out of this book, I believe. So please share it, and I love you all. Thank you very much.